Alright guys, in this video we're going to insert a volume pedal and see what happens when we put it before the amp or after the amp. Hey guys, this is Dr. McFarland, and if you want to be a more confident musician, definitely consider subscribing to my channel below, and be sure to click the bell icon so you'll be notified every time I release new content. So what we're going to do here is we're going to insert a volume pedal. So we're going to go down to expression, volume, and I always do the linear, but you can do whatever you want that makes sense to your ears. So obviously we have the volume pedal after the amplifier, and if I were to have this in a real life situation, especially using the 4-cable method, I do prefer to have my volumes after all my overdrives, even in the effects loop of the amp, because I just think it has a cleaner sound, and I don't want to adjust the input signal of my overdrives or my amplifier. So I typically do like to have my volume pedal after the amp, just for that reason. So see what happens here if I just play normal. And then when my volume pedal is down, you don't hear anything. So I'm going to gradually bring this up. All right, let's see what happens when we have the linear off. It's not bad. And then linear on. I think it just has a smoother volume sweep with a linear on versus off. You can experiment with that, whatever you want. Now with the volume, you can also do a minimum volume, which is kind of cool. So just bring that up to 30. And obviously you can still hear what's going on because the minimum volume is at 30%. So what we're going to do with this is we're actually going to put the volume pedal before the amplifier, and with the heel all the way down, Alright, let's turn that white boost off. Alright, we can even go a step farther, and we can put this before the overdrive. So for instance, if we have the black op on, so you can hear that it still had plenty of volume with the heel down or with the toe down. It just had a little bit less gain. So here's full gain. So it's just not as raunchy sounding, as kind of smooths out the gain level a little bit there. So that's a few different ways that you can use the volume pedal in your chain. But let's do this last one here. So let's go ahead and crank up the volume on the amp and just check our output. Alright, so we want to make sure that the output is not clipping or anywhere near close to clipping. So we always want to, if we're going to crank the amp, we want to bring down the overall output. So Alright, now what we're going to do is, you can see that my heel is down. Let's go ahead and bring the volume up. Back down. You can hear that the linear being off really changes the way the volume pedal affects the overall gain structure of the amp. So you could probably stand to have the minimum volume be a little bit higher in this case. You can hear that the amplifier is compressing pretty good as well. Versus having the linear on. So it's just a different way of doing things. The linear slope is going to affect the way the volume pedal reduces the gain to the front end of the amp. So it actually sounds kind of cool with the linear off. It doesn't sound better or worse, it's just a different way of affecting the input of the amp. So now let's do that same thing with the black op on. Alright, cool. So I think you get the idea. Go ahead and experiment with this in your own rigs. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. And be sure to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up if you like what you're seeing. And until next time, I am Dr. McFarland. I will see you in the next video. Keep rocking.